everyone and welcome to a new episode of Surprise Guest with Pia Arcangel. Maraming salamat muli sa pag-download at pag-stream na aming podcast. And because it's a new day, new episode, new surprise na naman tayo. So, sabay-sabay natin alamin kung sino ang ating surprise guest ngayong araw. Surprise guest, hello! How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Ay, wow! Wala agad face reveal ang ating surprise guest. At hindi ko mabosesan.
Hi.
Oh my God! Paeng Nepomuceno! Sir Paeng, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm happy to be doing this today.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this with us. What a surprise! I did not expect you to be our guest for today. It's so good to see you po.
Good to see you too.
I'm sure you don't remember this, but the last time I saw you, maybe it was one of the few times that I've seen you in person, but I saw you po in Celebrity Sports Plaza, and this was right before pandemic, a few years right before pandemic, and I saw you in the bowling lane, in the bowling alley. So it was such a surreal experience. I was like, oh wow, si Paeng Nepomuceno nasa bowling lane, tapos nakita ko siya. And then I was so embarrassed to ask for a picture, but my daughter and my niece were with me. So sabi ko, kayong mag-request ng picture. So I still have that picture po.
Most likely that was the time na nagtuturo ako for UP students.
Oh.
Kasi pupunta ako doon on
okay.
Mondays dati for 3 loads of PE class.
Wow, that was a PE class. Napakaswerte naman ng mga estudyante who took PE under you.
Yun ang giving back ko to the sport. I teach freshmen on Mondays, 3 loads, and doon tayo nagkita. Siguro tapos na yung PE class ko.
Wow.
I did that for about 5 years. Hindi pa kami nagre-resume ngayon.
Wow. Were you asked to teach po, or parang it was just something you wanted to do? You were the one who approached them and asked, oh, can I teach a class?
The dean of UP College of Kinetics approached me in one of the seminars that we attended for sports, and he brought up the idea, are you open to teaching in UP? Sabi ko, okay naman. So he made me a senior lecturer in the College of UP College of Kinetics.
Wow. Alam niyo po, I tried teaching before. It's difficult, diba? It's not as easy as we think it is.
Ang problema lang, I can only take 40 students since Celebrity had 8 lanes lang, 5 students per lane. So, in a couple of minutes, pag in-open yung class ko, closed na. At tapos, hindi pwede mag-pre-run kasi hanggang 40 lang talaga sagad yung kaya ng bowling center.
I'm sure unahan po to sign up for your PE class.
Yeah, nagko-close ka agad. So I did that 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4 on Mondays for the past 5 years before the pandemic.
And what's keeping you busy po now?
Well, I'm advisor of the Philippine national team. I used to be the head coach before the pandemic. What keeps me busy is that I'm in the business side of bowling. May mga Paeng's Bowling Center. Our biggest is in Paeng's Eastwood Bowl. And we are reopening Paeng's Midtown Bowl in Robinson's Malate soon.
Wow. It's so nice that you get to still work in this field. I mean, find, other things to do that, are still related to bowling.
I'm fortunate that my sport is a sport that can be played with all ages. As long as you're able to walk, you can bowl. So, ganyan talaga ang bowling. Maswerte kami na you can still bowl. It's in fact good for young and old.
So you still get to bowl very often these days?
From time to time, sumasali ako sa competitions. Like recently, I was invited to play in a seniors tournament, Asian seniors. Ginanap to sa Malaysia. Naka-gold ako sa singles event.
Wow! Congratulations!
These were among Asians na bowlers, bowling athletes for 15 over. Senior kasi sa bowling is 50 years old. So,
okay.
Dati na ako qualified dyan, pero first time na ako sumali after all these years. And it's among Asians.
Sino po yung mga kalaban nyo? Mga dati nyo nang kakilala?
Yung mga sikat nung araw, may mga world champions din ng Asia dati. May silver medalist ng Olympic event sa Seoul, Korea. Mga stars of yesteryears. na fit pa sila.
Does this mean, like, let's say you competed recently, you still get in a lot of practice po?
I try to practice once or twice a week since I'm in the bowling center na rin para wag ko lang makalimutan. But I don't really join competitions much anymore. Usually here in the Philippines lang.
Oh, siguro pag nandun kayo sa bowling center or bowling alley ninyo and people see you bowling, I suppose they feel the same way that I did when I saw you in Celebrity na parang, uy, si Paeng Nepomuceno nagbo-bowling. And they still come up to you and ask for photos with you.
Yeah, once in a while naman.
Pero Sir Paeng, how long? I mean, can you still look back to when you first started bowling or when you first picked up that bowling ball? Do you still remember when that
Of
was?
course, as a kid, I was athletic talaga. Mahilig ako sports. I tried all sports. And ang family sport ng family ko noon was golf kasi in UP, long time ago, they had 2 golf courses. And in the clubhouse was a restaurant called Butterfly, run by my parents. And so I was there pag weekends and go golf kami pag weekends. And one time, my dad represented UP in the Phil-American Golf Tournament in Camp John Hay. We were playing a round of golf sa Camp John Hay. Biglang umulan ng malakas. 12 years old ako nito. Humanap kami ng masisilungan. Turned out to be a mile-high bowling center na may 8 lanes. Mga Amerikano kasi nagdala ng bowling sa Pilipinas eh. Camp John Hay kasi was an American air base used for American servicemen for their recreation. May golf course, may bowling center, may magandang mga cottages para matitirahan para sa mga Amerikano. Kung di dahil sa ulan, hindi namin mapagpatuloy ang golf. Tapos yung bowling center pa sinilungan namin sa, I think it was the 13th hole. Halfway na kami ng game namin sa golf. Hindi namin mapagpatuloy, parang bumabagyo na. I asked my dad, ano yung game na yun? Then he said, bowling yan. Ang lalaki ng bola. At that time, ang alam ko sa bowling, duck pinch, yung maliliit na bola. Yun ang uso sa Pilipinas. Nagustuhan ko kasi pag uwi namin from Baguio, may organized junior league among the youth na kaedad ko. It was called junior league kasi ang age group hanggang 18 ang junior. So 12 ako noon, we would meet every Saturday in an organized team competition. I liked it kasi sa golf kasi puro matatanda mga kalaro ko eh. Eh sa bowling, mga kaedad ko, at saka every week. So enjoy ako. And then napansin ko, mas mabilis ako gumaling sa bowling. Kasi after 2 years, ako na ang pinakamagaling sa club namin sa Coronado Lanes. And then at 15, may national championships ng juniors. Akong nanalo, Masters champion, overall champion. Golf, I don't even remember, naka-trophy ako habang naglalaro ng golf eh. So in-encourage lang ako ng dad ko na i-maintain ang golf hanggang 15 years old kasi it's a good practice for the mental game, patience, and then it's similar yung focus and concentration part of the 2 sports. So at 15, tinutukan na namin ng bowling serious na. At 17, naging national champion ako among the adults na. So hanggang ngayon, yung record na yun, unbroken na pinakabatang national champion at 17. That's how I discovered it.
Wow. Di ba, Sir Paeng, you're also in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the youngest ever to win a world title?
I won it at 19. So 17, national champion ako. 19, in a span of 5 months, nanalo ko ng National Open ulit, Philippine Open. Naging Asian champion ako in the Asian Championships. And then, in November of that year, 1976, nanalo ko ng World Cup. So, Philippine, Asian, and World. And then, youngest world champion ako nung pumunta ako sa Tehran, Iran for the Bowling World Cup. Na hanggang ngayon, unbroken pa. 3 ang Guinness Book of World Records ko eh. But I have 4 certificates. Yung una, youngest world champion. Yung pangalawa, the only athlete in the world to have won a world title in different decades. Kasi nanalo ko 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. Karamihan ng world champion, 1 or 2 decades tapos na ang career. Yung pangatlong Guinness World Record ko ay pinakamaraming titles career won in your career. I won it in 6 different continents, 133 titles. Yung third
Wow!
title ko kasi
133.
118 eh. And then in 2019, they updated it, naging 133. So, 4 ang certificates ko, pero 3 ang world record. Kasi yung pang-4, ako sarili kong, nag-break ng sarili kong record sa pinakamaraming titulo sa buong mundo na nanalo sa iba-ibang lugar, which was mga from 118 naging 133 nung in-update nila.
Grabe. Sir Paeng, how do you keep track of everything you've ever won? Meron po ba kayong place in your house kung saan nakasabit lahat ng mga medals, title, certificate?
I have a trophy room. Yung anak ko, arkitekto, may TikTok siya. One of her TikToks, she dedicated yung building of the trophy room of my dad. So may trophy room ako dito sa bahay, sa baba. Tapos yung mga importante, naka-display. Hindi ko naman madi-display lahat eh. Maraming masyado.
Aha. Kaya kailangan talaga ng isang buong kwarto, di
Oo,
ba?
and then marami, nakabodega, pero nakadonate sa International Bowling Museum sa Amerika, meron din sa Bowling Museum sa Philippine Sports Commission, nandun yung iba. Pero yung mga major
Wow.
ones nandito sa bahay. Like the World Cups, mga Guinness, mga Athlete of the Year ko, mga Athlete of the Century ko, award,
Lahat nasa inyo
yung mga
po.
importante. Tsaka kung ano lang gusto
Aha.
ko i-donate sa iba, pinibigay ko naka-display. Sa Amerika, meron din ako sa Bowling Museum.
Pero Sir Paeng, among all your titles and awards, are there some that are truly memorable to you? Not necessarily the biggest ones, kasi for some athletes, it's not necessarily the most prestigious award that's the most memorable to them, but sometimes it's the first, or parang may mga certain matches or games lang.
Yung pinaka-memorable sa akin was in 1999 when the International Olympic Committee awarded me the President's Trophy. It's special to me kasi yung award na yan binibigay sa best performing athlete sa Olympics. Since bowling is not an Olympic sport and in 1999, walang Olympics, pumili sila ng isang atleta na makakatanggap ng pinakamataas na award sa sports. Usually, binibigay ang award sa mga multi-medalists sa isang Olympic event. So at that year, ako ang napili nila. So it's a small trophy but designed by the Greek jeweler because sa Athens nag-umpisa ang Olympics. Binigay sa akin yung highest award ng presidente ng International Olympic Committee on that year. And I'm privileged kasi they chose a bowling athlete to receive the highest award of the Olympics.
Wow. So, Sir Paeng, when you first picked up that bowling ball when you were 12 years old sa Camp John Hay, did you imagine, or maybe not even that first time you started bowling, but your first few years in bowling sa Coronado, did you imagine that you would parang reach this point with all the accolades? And you're not just a hero, you're an icon. Not also just here in the country, but in the world.
The very first lesson I learned when I bowled, nobody's born a champion. Ang score ko, 63. Kahit na ikaw, magsi-63 ka eh. Ganon kasama. Talagang pinag-aralan ko ang sport. Tinuruan ako ng dad ko, coach ko. Never in my wildest dreams na I took my goal setting step by step. Okay, gusto ko maging the best ako muna dito sa mga youth, dito sa club namin. Okay, gusto ko maging pinakamagaling na sa youth sa buong Pilipinas. So, ang goal setting dapat step by step. Kasi kung mag-dream ka na maging world champion ka agad, baka ma-discourage ka kasi there are many obstacles that come your way. And then you have to do a lot of sacrifice. And then, syempre, since I was young, I learned that kailangan yung self-sacrifice, kusang loob. Hindi dahil sasabihin ng coach mo or magulang mo or maging disiplina ka. Kailangan kusang loob. So, yun ang natutunan ko sa sports.
Wow, that's great because some people think na parang pure talent will, get them wherever they want to go.
No.
But the hard work is something that a lot of people sometimes overlook.
Yeah, it requires hard work, patience, determination. Tapos, since I was a youth, my dad always instilled in me, miski pa paano, tapusin mo yung pag-aaral mo kasi hindi ka pwede maging atleta buong buhay mo. So I had to learn time management to be able to finish my college, which I did, commerce. major in business administration, just in case na something goes wrong with my career. So, to all the youth na kung gusto niyo pumasok sa sports, huwag niyo pabayaan ang pag-aaral. Importante yan sa isang atleta kasi hindi naman tayo pwede maging atleta buong buhay.
Nakakabilib rin, Sir Paeng, na yung popularity nyo as an athlete, talagang it came also at a time na wala pa namang social media. Nowadays kasi it's parang somehow easier to infiltrate the public mindset because there's so many avenues and channels by which somebody can do that. Pero kayo po, it was all mainstream and talagang walang Pinoy na hindi kilala si Paeng Nepomuceno. Bata man o matanda.
Salamat. Tagal ko na rin sa sports. Imagine, I started bowling 70. 52nd year ko na ngayon sa sports.
Wow, 52nd year in sports. Pero you mentioned po, Sir Paeng, na when you started, it was your father who was coaching you. And your father was really your coach po.
Sabay-sabay kami naglaro sa Baguio. Sabay-sabay kami nagbo-bowling sa Manila. He started reading books in order niya sa Amerika. Minail sa amin. Talagang minaster niya yung mga libro. And then, self-taught coach siya. And then, naging national team coach siya sa mga various events like the Southeast Asian Games.
He was not a professional bowler before you started bowling.
No, sabay kami. Coaching naman kasi, you don't have to be really good. What you have to have in coaching is a good mind, a good eye to detect what you do, and to make changes, suggestions. Lahat naman ng coaches dyan, tingnan mo, mga basketball coach, hindi naman talagang super tangkad and superstar sila nung araw. Ang coaching is a totally different career. Although it helps if you also play the sport, syempre. And syempre, additional, magiging creditable ka sa estudyante mo. Okay, magaling bowling yan nung araw yung coach ko.
Did you enjoy having your dad as your coach po? Kasi some people, parang they'll say, oh, hindi namin alam where to draw the line between the father-son relationship and the coach-athlete relationship.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Hi, I'm Howie Severino. My colleagues and I developed this idea of creating a podcast as a safe space for sharing insights with leaders and interesting people across diverse backgrounds. I've been a journalist for 33 years as a newspaper reporter, news anchor, online editor, and documentary maker. But podcasting is fresh territory for me. Check out the Howie Severino podcast, an original for GMA News and Public Affairs. New episodes will stream every Thursday. Listen for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. Empower yourselves and be safe.
Did you enjoy having your dad as your coach po? Kasi some people, parang they'll say, oh, hindi namin alam where to draw the line between the father-son relationship and the coach-athlete relationship.
Yeah, that's a good question. Importante na you trust your coach. I trusted my dad. So, our rapport was good. Kagandahan sa dad ko, he doesn't show that he gets worried. Poker face siya. So, it helps kung yung coach ganun eh. Hindi nagpapanik. Kasi hindi naman smooth sailing lahat yan eh. So, draw the line, yun lang. As a father naman, mag-aaral ka. Hindi ka pwede mag-practice kung di mo tinapos yung homework mo. Okay. He was kind of strict in that way naman. Siguro dahil sa mami ko sinabi, tell him na to wag pabayaan yung pag-aaral.
So he was your full-time coach, but was he busy with other things at the same time he was coaching you po?
Well, we had our family business and he dedicated a lot of his time. Talagang nagsakripisyo rin siya. He was present in all of my world championships. I'm lucky.
Oh, that's so nice. So, siguro when you walk into your trophy room, parang it's really not just your trophies, it's yours and your dad's.
Of course. So, my parents really supported me and of course my siblings. My sister was national team also sa hanggang youth level. Then she got married eh. Kids ko naman, I have 3 kids. My son, my eldest, I have 1 boy and 2 girls eh. He tried bowling 2 years pero mas gusto niya yung more aggressive sports like jiu-jitsu, martial arts. And then since nag-aaral siya sa Hawaii, mahiling siya mag-surf.
Pero sa ngayon, Sir Paeng, you mentioned that you have your businesses and it was very important that, as your father said, that you finish your degree. So nagamit nyo talaga yung degree nyo and you were able to
Yeah.
parang put two loves of your life together.
Working student ako noon. At 18, may sariling bowling shop na ako sa Celebrity Sports Plaza. As medyo business-minded na. Because my dad encouraged me. Oh, kasi pag binibili yung mga bola, binubutas yun. My shop did that service. Nag-aaral ako to drill those balls. And I sold bowling balls, bags, shoes, accessories in that small shop in Celebrity. So ganun ako nag-umpisa sa negosyo. 1979 yun.
Nung time na yun, nung binibenta niyo yung mga bola, may pangalan ninyo or parang may brand na
Hindi
Paeng
pa ako sikat
Nepomuceno?
noon. Ang Paeng Nepomuceno ball, naging nung 4 na world champion na ako na naglabas yung major American brand ng bola ng Paeng Nepomuceno World Cup Edition. Malaking karangalan yun sa Amerika. Sold out. Gumawa sila ng 500 pieces, ubos kagad. Ang mga
Wow!
bola gawa sa Amerika. So, at that time, nung working student ako, yun ang mga binibenta ko na galing sa Amerika, galing sa airbase, may mga shops din doon.
So very business-minded ka pala ever since before. Pero Sir Paeng, sabi nyo, at the age of 18, hindi pa kayo masyadong sikat or ganun kasikat. When would you say you peaked in your bowling career?
Yung 19, world champion ako, pero hindi pa pick kasi paupisa pa lang. One thing with my sport, I took it step by step. Yung goal setting ko, I had to reinvent myself throughout these years kasi nababagong technology sa sport any sport. Nag-pick ako siguro mid-90s. Siguro pag yung pang-apat na World Cup ko, last world title ko, 99. Pero after that, surgery muna ako sa kamay, sa wear and tear, overuse, sa kakabowling. Then nakabalik ako 2002, naka-Asian Games gold pa ako. So, tuloy-tuloy lang.
Sa bagay, kasi nga kayo po, you won championships in 4 different decades.
Oo, yun ang world record ko. Maraming world champion hanggang 20 years. Swerte lang na hindi masyadong strenuous ang bowling.
Siyempre, pag nagko-compete kayo sa mga World Championship, ang dami nyo rin nakikilalang mga champions, di ba? Mga bowling legends. Sino yung mga pinaka naging kaibigan nyo na among all the bowlers that acclaimed bowlers? Of course, syempre si Bong Cook, Pilipina din po siya. Pilipino.
Bong Cook for the Philippines. Usually, mga Amerikano, mga Scandinavians. May mga kaibigan din ako, magagaling sila sa Scandinavia kasi pag winter, popular talaga ang bowling. I have a lot of bowling friends around the world. Swerte, may mga Facebook na ngayon, mas madali connect and other social media. Galing. Noong araw, walang mga cellphone.
wala pang mga
Wala
FaceTime.
mga computer. I grew up in that era. Paglalaro ng bata, we enjoyed simple joys in your yard or with your neighbors.
Di ba, yung ibang sports may cross-training yan. Pero for bowling, meron ba kayong other forms of training?
I was one of the first athletes in the Philippines that believed in cross-training. I did running, I did weights, I exercised the muscles that were used and needed in bowling. So may running ako for stamina. Next day, may weights for various parts like chest, shoulders, back, biceps, legs. 2 days split yun. Pangatlo rest. Ganun. All year round regimen yan. Importante meron. Kasi kung titingnan mo ang bowling, mukhang, ang dali yan. Pero not many people realize that a bowling ball, yung ginagamit namin is 15 pounds. So kailangan from start to finish, consistent ang tapon mo, hindi ka napapagod, nakakatulong kung may cross-training. Nung araw, sinasabi, naku, baka masira ang game mo sa nag-weights ka, baka maging muscles mo, hindi flexible. Ngayon, pangkaraniwan na lang na may cross-training bawat sport. So, ayun, akong mga first few athletes na naniwala sa cross-training.
Dati, hindi pa naman masyadong uso yung mga sports psychology, ganyan. Parang it was really all internal. Meron po ba kayong parang process before? Maybe, something that you can share with young athletes now.
Yes, I have. I have a regimen to prepare. I have what you call 4 mental tools. Visualization. You visualize the event in your mind na titignan mo paano ka magpe-perform for that day. In other words, it's called game plan. If you visualize mo kung anong gagawin mo, paano ka titira in your mind. And it helps kasi pag may visualization technique ka, you don't have to go to the bowling center or play your sport. Upo ka lang sa silya, relax, and visualize mo doing your technique. So that's the number one, visualization. Ginagawa ko. That's normal among elite athletes, talagang nag-visualization sila. Number 2, importante, believe ka sa sarili mo, confidence. How do you achieve that? Self-talk. Sinasabi mo that I'm always cool, calm, and collected at all times. Kasi number 1 kalaban ng atleta is pag nervyos ka eh. Sa basketball, free throw, you do that 100 times in one day, hindi ka nag-miss. Bakit pag crucial, nami-miss mo? Kasi siguro na-distract ka sa booing sa kalaban or ninervyos ka konti. So, self-talk is important na I'm always calm, I'm a great strike kung sa bowling, strike player, or spare shooter. Ganun. So, number 2 tool is self-talk. Number 3 tool is emotions. Kailangan feel mo na kaya mong manalo. Visualize, sinasabit sa yung medalya. The subconscious mind does not know what is real and unreal. Parang sa subconscious mind, mangyari yan. Scientific studies yan. So those are the 3 tools. Ang pinaka-4 na tool ay prayers. God's will be done. You pray, Lord, if it's for me, it's for me. Kasi di ka maniniwala. Maraming beses, marami akong panalo. Marami rin daw 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place. Kung kaya ni Lord, accept it. So prayers is also important in your athletic life. Kailangan balance ka mentally, spiritually, physically. May physical regimen ka sa bowling or your cross-training. You prepare, you have a game plan. You use the 3 tools I mentioned earlier. At importante, spiritual. Prayers are very important. Package deal.
Buong-buo kailangan, very holistic yung approach.
Okay, sports kasi, there are 2 games being played. Your actual game, whether it's basketball, whether it's bowling, the other game is what goes up in your mind. Kailangan kontrolado mo ang being focused, being concentrated, controlling your emotions, yung nervyos mo. Number 1 kalaban kasi is nervyos ng atleta. Alam natin ng sports athletes. So those are the 2 games being played. What's inside your mind and the actual game.
Are you the type po, Sir Paeng, na right before an important game, hindi po kayo pwedeng kausapin? Like, let's say, 10 minutes before you walk out into the lane, wala nang pwedeng lumapit sa inyo?
Pwede naman. Pagka naglalaro na ako, as much as possible, focus lang talaga ako. Kasi ganun talaga. It's a game of concentration, yung bowling. Okay lang sa akin before playing. But during the game, I try to limit it.
Sometimes po, Sir Paeng, when I listen to, like, kumari, listening to your tips now, like visualization, making sure the spiritual approach is there, parang it applies also not just to sports, but to our everyday lives as well. Like, for me, a non-athlete.
An athlete, for your school, for your work, importante na may game plan ka sa work mo. And then it helps if you self-talk, positive statements to yourself, confidence builder. Kasi importante sa any endeavor na confident ka sa ginagawa mo eh. You have to believe in yourself.
May question ako, kasi syempre matangkad po kayo eh. Wala ho bang nag-aalok sa inyo before na, ba't di ka na lang mag-basketball or volleyball? Or was height also an advantage in bowling?
Bowling, hindi advantage ang height. In fact, disadvantage kasi bababa ka talaga ng mababa sa lane. Where it comes to other sports, jack of all trades ako, mahilig talaga ako sa sports. Nag-try out ako sa Lasal, hanggang reserve lang. Hindi ako natanggap.
Basketball po?
So may aspiration. May aspiration rin ako maging basketball player since center ako noon. Kaya lang, I didn't have the skill for it. Thankful to God that I was the right sport at the right time.
When you tried out po for basketball, nagbo-bowling na rin po kayo ng time na yon?
Oo naman. Paumpisa, grade 7. Nag-try out ako sa junior team ng Lasal. Hindi ako natanggap. Sumama ang loob ko eh. So, siguro nabuo sa bowling.
So basketball's loss is bowling's big, big gain.
Yeah, I'm not too... I like basket, but walang hilig sa akin ng basketball. So, paano yan?
Do you think po more Filipinos should take up the sport of bowling? Kasi nga sabi nyo naman po, like height actually mas makakatulong pa kung maliliit tayo, ganyan.
Oo, sana mabigyan more support ang bowling or the sports that does not require height. Doon tayo magaling mga Pilipino yung hindi kailangan matangkad, kapantamang lakas, maganda ang skill. Sana more Filipinos get into sports na not only bowling but other sports na kaya natin mag-excel. Like kay Heidi Lin, hindi kailangan matangkad. Kailangan malakas pa lang and then proper discipline and training, support.
Ano po pakiramdam nyo, Sir Paeng, pag nakikita nyo yung success of this new generation of athletes now in the international arena?
Natutuwa ako kasi, wow, dami nating world-class athletes and sana dumami pa. Nakakatuwa. Kasi dati, puro bowling and billiards and boxing lang naririnig mo eh. The 3 Bs. Ngayon, may weightlifting, and then andyan si EJ Obiena, and then andyan ang golf, andyan ang tennis, si Alex Ayala. Marami, nakakatuwa. I'm happy that we get to see them on the world stage.
Have you met any of the young athletes lately? Although kasi syempre pandemic, di ba? Parang it's difficult to find opportunities to go out and meet.
Kilala ko lahat sila. Kasi in my recent years, nag-coach ako sa Asian Games. Sa Asian Games, lahat ng sports andun eh. So, kilala ko lahat sila. Even Heidi Lin, di pa siya silver medalist. Kilala ko na siya. I met her in Turkmenistan, in the Asian Indoor Games. Then EJ Obiena, once in a while, yung coach niya, tinatawagan ako, pinapakausap ako sa kanya to give him some tips on the mental game.
At this point, you're still very much involved in bowling. You have the business which offers bowling not just as recreation but maybe hopefully a stepping stone for somebody who like you might realize na, magaling pala ako sa bowling because pumunta sila sa lane niyo one day and started playing.
May academy ako, although I have not resumed kasi because of the health protocols, hindi pa kami nag-face-to-face sa bowling. So hopefully soon, pagka medyo safe na talaga, 100%, tutuloy na namin yung weekend bowling namin sa Eastwood.
Wow, naku, I'm sure maraming nag-aabang niyan. Usually po ba yung mga sumasali sa club, are they young or mga teenager ba sila?
All ages. Actually, it's a 4-weekend package. Meron din personalized lessons with me. Depende kung what you want. Kung gusto mong group kayo ng family nyo or your friends. Pwede ganun.
For you po, what's the best thing about bowling as a sport? Kasi nga sabi niyo, it wasn't naman what you originally wanted or parang thought of.
The best is rain or shine. Pwede ka maglaro. And then,
Oo nga, no? Walang stoppage of the game.
That's the best time to play. After you go to the bowling center safely. Number 2 is, hindi kailangan matangkad. Believe me, maraming champions. Dito ko lang nagkapalang matangkad ako eh. And then, as long as consistently release mo yung bola and do your routine consistently, you can bowl. Diyan magaling ang Pilipino. Rhythm. Kaya ng Pilipino kasi kahawig ang fundamental sa timing, sa shot repeatability. Kailangan lang consistent ka. So yan ang kagandahan ng sport. It's a sport for all ages, all weather.
So I think one of the best parts is parang it's for all ages. So it's something that even me, I could pick up
Of
the sport
course,
at this
yeah.
age and just try and,
And
see.
then it's fun.
Parang gusto kong
Bowling.
mag-book ngayon ng ng isang lane. Just to try it out. Sir Paeng, diba, the best things about bowling is when you have a strike, diba? When you're able to score a strike. We prepared a little bit of a game called Quick Strike just for you. Now that we have the world bowling legend with us on the show, it's just quick strike. So basically means I will be asking you quick questions and you'll give us your quick answer to each question pa. All right. So first question on our quick strike, who's your bowling idol?
Well, Earl Anthony, Americano siya, is way older than me. Pinakamaraming title.
You learned about him as soon as you started playing the sport?
A few years after, no, napapanood ko siya sa TV when US bowling was brought in our local channels.
Who's your greatest opponent?
Nung araw, si Arnis from Norway. 2-time World Cup champion siya. Nag-1-on-1 kami dito sa Pilipinas. Pero happy to have tinalo ko.
And nakasabit na yung trophy na yon or medal na yon sa trophy room nyo. Who do you think is the greatest Filipino athlete?
Manny Pacquiao, Heidi Diaz, dalawa.
Ba't hindi kasama si Paeng Nepomuceno? Excluding na lang. Oh. Huwag natin isama sarili sa listahan.
Extra lang ako doon.
What do you think is your legacy in Philippine sports?
Siguro, that's one of the first world champion and the youngest. Career
Most
title,
awarded.
most world records.
Yeah, most world records and parang ang dami niyo pang Guinness World Records, Sir Paeng.
One of my most memorable is every athlete's dream is to be in the Hall of Fame na achieved ko 30 years ago, and icing on the cake na ako nasa entrance ng Bowling Museum sa Arlington, Texas. You can see the video in YouTube.
See, imagine that, Sir Paeng, yung mga memorabilia nyo, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, nasa ibang bansa pa.
Siguro maraming daga kasi sa Arlington, kaya yung little sa entrance.
I'm sure hindi pa yun yung dahilan. Grabe. Okay, so next time may Pilipino pumunta sa Arlington, Texas, alam namin kung ano yung pinakaunang hahanapin namin. Sir Paeng, I just wanna say thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. What a happy surprise to be able to have this conversation with you this morning. Pero before we let you go, Sir Paeng, is there anything that you can tell our listeners and those who are watching us also about, what it's like to be I'm sure so many people dream of becoming an elite athlete. What advice can you give them if they truly want to pursue a career in sports?
Enjoy what you do. Kailangan passionate ka about it. If you enjoy what you do, you become better at it faster. Number 2, you have to be willing to work hard, make sacrifices. Walang nagiging champion kung walang disiplina. So discipline is important. Mental discipline, physical discipline. Number 4, if you're into school, said earlier, mag-aral din kayo kasi hindi ka pwede maging atleta buong buhay nyo. Number 5, glorify God in everything that you do in sports. Lord, I'm gonna play for you today. Ayun lang.
Thank you so much, Sir Paeng. These words of wisdom are really something that a lot of people can take to heart and carry with them as they pursue whatever career they want to in sports. And like I said earlier, it's actually not just for the athletes, even for non-athletes like me. Ang dami kong natutunan from you today. And I love what you said about how not everybody is born a champion. Parang we really have to give hard work the importance that it deserves, because people always think, if you're talented, okay na yun. Pero nakakalimutan nila yung the work that you have to put into it.
Yeah, well said, Pia. Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Sir Paeng, thank you so much. I hope to see you again in Celebrity soon. This time, I won't be so shy. I will try to get rid of the shyness para malapitan ako naman ang magpapapicture sa inyo.
Kailangan Mondays.
Mondays, okay. Abangan ko po, Sir Paeng, pag
Sana
Monday.
soon.
Napakaswerte ng PE students ninyo. Thank you so much, Sir Paeng. This One Strike Surprise was planned by the team of Justin Kenneth Canandang and Aubrey De Los Reyes, edited by Shirley Paghiligan with the wonderful people of GMA Integrated News. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Till the next surprise!